Morning and welcome to another edition of the Almost Daily Dave. A quick programming reminder, tomorrow is the Nooner at 12 Eastern, and I'm not 100% sure what the schedule is going to be on that show yet because there's quite a lot to process. As of this moment, there is nothing else to report on the NBA. There are meetings that are either happening right now or will be going on a little bit later, two separate ones, one a players meeting and another one with the NBA's Board of Governors, the people who run the league. And to find out what the next step is going to be in this process regarding last night's walkout by the NBA players over the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Not surprisingly, the Milwaukee Bucks, about 40 minutes away from Kenosha, were the first team to make a statement. And then on down the line, the light switch kept getting flipped until the NBA finally sent out a press release saying we have postponed the games that are on the slate for Wednesday. It's been widely reported today's games and tonight's games are in danger of not happening, and they will be postponed. And there is a hell of a lot of talk about they're not even finishing the bubble season. Plenty of published reports suggesting with the Lakers and Clippers, they want out. And you have two very prominent voices, probably the prominent voice in LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard, who's not known as a talkative person, but obviously is passionate about this. And the Lakers and Clippers don't want to play. That puts the rest of the players in an incredibly uncomfortable position, and they may not want to play either. And there's so many ramifications to all of this. Now, if you're asking yourself why this is happening, then you need to go either read up or go back to hiding under the covers and watching something else. You should know why it's happening. You don't have to agree with it. I can live with that if you have an intelligent opinion about it. This has nothing to do with money. This is all about trying to get social justice or legal justice. And it isn't just Blake. It is everything that has happened this year and probably even going back to further years. So I hope you understand that's the reason for it. Now, is this ever going to be successful? Well, it won't be completely successful unless the people with real clout, the ownership, gets involved. As pointed out by Dr. Harry Edwards, who is probably the go-to guy on race issues in the United States and has been since the 60s when he advised an Olympic boycott for black athletes and got people like the man then known as Lou Alcindor, now, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to boycott the 68 Mexico City Games, the famous salute on the podium in Mexico City. Remember that? John Carlos and Tommy Smith with the Black Power fists. That so shocked. That would have stopped Twitter had Twitter been around in 1968. Dr. Edwards believes that if the players can get ownership involved and start getting some genuine leverage, you may not have to walk away from the season. The purpose of this is to try to get some progress, try to get some movement, not just walking out for the sake of walking out. How do you recognize that movement? How do you tell? Well, I don't know if I have the answer for that. It's a difficult situation. If you are of the mind that you think these guys should just be out there running around, shut up and dribble, your time is probably past. I'm not saying you don't have the right to say shut up and dribble, but I think time has passed you by on that attitude. At least as far as these players and the WNBA, which not surprisingly at all, because they have been very socially forward this year, they walked out as well. Surprised me to see Major League Baseball, the 3 games get postponed. Major League Soccer did the same thing by the players' vote, according to the players, who were a little bit mad the league took credit, except for 1 game played in Orlando. And I wonder if they feel good about that. I guess they must, because they played. How is this going to leak into the NFL? Oh, man. Could you imagine the reaction if the NFL players decided to do what the NBA players did? Yeah. Wouldn't go over too well with a lot of people. Be very upsetting. But again, I would ask you, if you're on the fence about this or you want to do some more research on it, do some damn research on this. Don't just have a knee-jerk reaction. If after you look into this and try to understand what the players are doing here and you don't agree with it after that, hey, I'm fine with that. But take a moment to educate yourself into the reason for this. As for me, I'll be honest. If it's going to improve things, then it will not have been a waste of anybody's time. I don't feel the need in my life to be entertained by people. I don't feel that's, their job is to play ball. If I happen to be entertained, that's great. And I happen to like the NBA and basketball, as you guys know. But it didn't bother my evening last night. There were no games on, and it won't bother me if there are no games today. And it's not going to ruin my life if there are no games at all for the rest of the year. If they decide to go ahead and shut everything down, and there is a big divide about that, understandably, I'm going to be okay with that. These young men are in a position of influence. That's the word I'm looking, not authority, but influence, to possibly enact change. True influence, of course, comes with money and power, and that's where they need to get ownership on their side. And that's, I'm sure, what the players are going to be after. And maybe if they can get that partnership beyond wearing T-shirts, beyond kneeling before the anthem, beyond even the $300 million spread out over, I don't remember how many years the NBA has pledged, you need more, apparently, in the eyes of the players. So at least look into their point of view. I think you should understand why. Think about the guys who were sacrificing, potentially sacrificing opportunities to do something that is their goal, win a championship. Some people are willing to do that. I think that's a sacrifice. The financial ramifications of this are enormous, and not just for the players, for the league, for the television partners, a lot of it. There's a lot at stake here. I think the players have leverage. It's just my opinion. So how they use that leverage and how they get others to help with that leverage is going to tell how the rest of this is going to be played out. It is a wait-and-see situation. And with everything that this year has seen, and the suffering, it seems like coast to coast, north to south, east to west, for whatever the reasons, even weather causing suffering. We're in the middle of fighting a disease we didn't anticipate seeing. We never saw this coming in January, this pandemic. And it seems like we're still fighting a disease that we have seen and we have had around for hundreds of years, and a disease that still doesn't have a cure and may never be completely cured. That'll do it for today. I'll be back noon Eastern time tomorrow. Again, I don't have a clue what tomorrow's show is going to look like, but I'll be around. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Take care.